All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 9 a.m. Thursday, December the 4th, right here on Jocks. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. If you listen weekly, you know this day at this time, we are always joined, thanks to our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly, by the coach, Wimp Sanderson. Coach, how we doing today?
Okay, I'll start a little bit with basketball, then I want to jump over to football a little bit. 9-7, SEC won 9 games, and the ACC won 7. So it's a little bit closer, a lot closer this year than it has been in the past in basketball. I listen to people talk about Alabama blowing. You don't blow leads, generally speaking. The other team gets hot a little bit, and you don't play quite as well. And you have to give the other team some credit. When you got a 20-point lead, they drop it down. It's you don't blow the lead particularly. You just the other team just plays better. So Auburn had a good win over NC State, and we'll see what happens as they go through their season. I think Bruce's son will do a good job, and Alabama's a very, very good offensive team.
Do you think the SEC is as good this year, Coach? I mean, I know.
Here we go.
I'm just curious. Like the last year was unbelievable. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure it is. I think it's a good question. I'm very careful about what I say basketball wise, because I get blasted about whatever I say anyway. So I don't think it's quite as good. The Tennessee's lost to Syracuse, and Arkansas had a good win. Alabama had a good win. Kentucky is not Kentucky of the past. They may get that way, but they better hurry up because they don't guard anybody. When they don't shoot it, they're dead. They opened up with Alabama, I think, in the SEC this year. I think that's correct, and the students will be gone, so it won't be as much home court advantage. But to answer that question, I don't think right now the schedule's a little bit tougher for some of the teams, but I'm not sure it's quite as good.
Quickly, while we're on hoops, I'm interested what you thought of Alabama's win against Clemson last night.
Well, I think the win was good. Alabama's shot the lights out of it. Let me tell you something, folks. You talk about shooting the threes, and that's what they did. They scored. They made 12 threes versus 4, and the last time I looked, that's 8 different. And the last time I looked, that was 24 points different. So you've got to defend the 3. And people talk about shooting the 3 all the time. You got to defend it. You got to get out there to them, and then the rebounds come off there a little bit longer than when you guys played, and not right under the goal, because there's a lot of long shots and a lot of long rebounders. So you got to limit second and third shots if you possibly have a chance to win the game. Switching to football, I thought Alabama and Auburn were both ready to play defensively when they played last time. And I want to know from Greg, Cole too, does the quarterback, when they try to, the backfield tries to disguise what they do defensively, zone versus man. You don't try to read that, do you? Do you practice against zone versus man? Do you? I guess you're going to say to me, Wimp, you just throw it to the open guy. Comment. That's interesting to me, and I don't know anything about it, and our listeners don't either.
Well, there's a lot of things that you can do, and I think Ryan Grubb and their offensive scheme probably does as good a job as anybody of creating formations that are man zone indicators.
Okay.
So I know most of the time whether or not they're in man or zone based on who's covering the running back that is likely out in an empty formation. If the running back is out in an empty formation and there's a linebacker over him, I know it's probably man.
Okay.
And then I motion that running back in the backfield. The linebacker travels with him. I now know it's man. Sometimes, too, on formations, that can happen, but also on motions. If I have a guy in the slot that's to my left I motion him across the ball, and the guy that's directly over him motions with him across the ball and travels with him. That tells me it's probably man. If he motions across the ball and the guy that was over the top of him slides into the box, but no one travels with him, I know it's probably zone. So
Okay.
you have man-zone indicators based on your pre-snap formation and your pre-snap motion. Now, teams have gotten better at disguising and adjusting to the man-zone indicators. So, for example, that slot receiver that's to the left now motions to the right. The guy will run with him, and they'll play zone. That's been a huge change in the last 5 years that defenses have now adapted to. And it's harder on a quarterback. So what we've done as an offense is we have now built-in answers. So in that scenario, we'll run a man-beating concept. So a concept that is built to exploit man coverage. But there are answers within that concept that can also beat zone. Whether that's you don't run to get covered, you sit it down. Like in zone coverage, you're often having a lot of sit down routes, not on the move routes. Like you throttle it down in a zone. So they've now adjusted, and I'm sure now in 2 years, 3 years, defenses will adjust to that. And it's just a constant back and forth. So it's great. And then of course on top of that, you have pressures. Well, I gotta make sure I can block them. So how do you scheme that up? Well, you can start the running back to your left. A lot of teams like to blitz the back, but in reality, he starts on the left, but his blocking responsibilities to the right, and vice versa. So there's a lot of nuance to it, and without getting too deep in the weeds, like you can protect around it, and it just requires a very thoughtful staff. And in the past, what teams would do is just run tempo to basically force the defense to play vanilla coverage. But since less teams are doing tempo because they don't want to expose their defense, you're seeing a little bit more thought when it comes to pre-snap formation and motion.
Well, a lot of this stuff I don't understand, but I think it's a good question. Cole, you got anything on that?
No, I think Greg pretty much summed it up. I mean, that's a lot of why we see so much pre-snap movement and so much pre-snap adjustment right now with a lot of these schools. It's a way that gets them what they want.
Greg, it looked to me like, and this is a stupid question. I think it's a good question. I can make decent questions, but it looked to me like the quarterback, Ty would look and see that the other guys in the backfield were not at the right spots. That maybe Alabama had changed some of their alignments, and those kids hadn't caught it. And by the time he gets them in the right spot, it's just down to 2 or 3 seconds to snap the ball. Am I wrong on that? Are some of these guys that play with him not getting to where they need to get quick enough, or is that silly?
I mean, I think it just depends. There are some guys that can handle that and manage that, and I don't think their coaches would mind them going that far down in the play clock. There are other times that I think, Greg, it's taken that long because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of confusion. And they don't have that communication in the headset any longer at that point.
Right.
So
I think that some of it, like you can't waste plays. Like plays are too important. I think sometimes teams will waste plays, and Alabama refuses to do that. Like every play matters in their eyes, and the coach's eyes as well. So they don't want to run a suboptimal play just for the sake of running it. So they'd rather try to get it right. And if it takes to the final seconds, it's good. But I do think sometimes playing slow like that can disrupt the rhythm of the offense. That's why when I watch Alabama, sometimes they're at their best when they're just playing a little more free. And then you have, instead of man zone beaters, you have all encompassing beaters, pure progressions. And pure progressions are basically where the quarterback is looking at it by saying 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. It doesn't matter if it's man, doesn't matter if it's zone. Is 1 open? If he is, throw it. Is 2 open? If 1's covered, you go to 2. If 2's covered, you go to 3. 3's covered, go to 4, then take off and run. That's how you beat it, and I think you can do that a little bit more rhythm, but it's kind of drive the drive, to be honest with you. Like it's hard to adjust tempo in drive. Like you can do it. It's not the easiest thing in the world. But I actually like their approach. I just think sometimes they overthink it, And that's when they start to get into trouble. And I don't like burning timeouts on offense, ever.
Before I get off of here, because of the show I have, Alabama's the only team with 2 losses outside the ACC game where Duke plays there. Is a loss by Alabama, 10-0, 14-0, scary about getting in. And secondly, is it a darn shame that the committee doesn't give Vanderbilt any more thought than they do. Those 2 questions, they worry me to death with it. You guys are smarter than I am. What's the answer there? Either one of you.
I'm not real sure, Coach.
You're not sure whether they get in or not?
I mean, I think they're in.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to take the number 1 seed in the SEC if they were to lose this game to what's Georgia right now? 4?
3.
3 to number 3 and say, you're out.
They're in, Coach.
Okay.
They're in.
Okay.
I don't think you need to worry about that.
Okay.
I just don't think the SEC is too powerful, and they won the SEC regular season.
Okay.
It'd be the equivalent of Duke winning the ACC regular season, not winning the conference tournament, and them saying, "Yeah, you know what? They can't have them in." I think it's just too important. Like the SEC has too much respect. They have too many teams ranked in the top 25. If Bama loses the game, they have the only win in the country over the SEC champions. Still, can't take that away.
Okay.
So I think Bama's in. That's why there was an adjustment. I think the committee has kind of messed themselves up a couple times this year. And by putting Bama behind Notre Dame originally, I think was a mistake. That was a couple weeks ago. They made that right. And there was no reason for Bama to drop from 4 to 10. That was aggressive. They were lost by 2 points at home to the team that's ranked number 8 in the country. That was aggressive. That was a lot. So Notre Dame has killed everybody and has looked great in the process of doing so. But they have 1 win against a team that's currently ranked at the top 25, and their strength of schedule is 42. Bama's is 11. And it's going to get stronger this weekend because they're playing a top 3 team. So I don't think there's a scenario where they can get dropped out when the teams they're being measured against in Miami and Notre Dame are not playing this weekend.
Any thought on Vanderbilt, either one of you?
They're out.
Cole?
I don't think they
don't have a win in the top 25.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, with all due respect to Vandy, I think I've loved them. I think they've been great this year, but they had opportunities. They lost to Bama. They lost to Texas. And they lost, frankly, to Texas in convincing fashion. And you could tell me that game was close. Sure. You and I will see it differently than that day. I don't think it was close. The score was close at the end, but that was a lot to a little. And it felt fairly one-sided for the better part of 3 quarters. So I think Vandy had a great year. Should feel excited about it. But Tennessee being 8-4 and Mizzou being 8-4 didn't help them. Those are 2 best wins.
Okay. Well, I'll get out of here. Those are good answers for me to use on my show. So I cheated a little bit, learned something.
The problem with the Vandy thing, Coach, and the Texas thing too, is the people are going to say, "Are those one of the best 12 teams?" And that's not the argument here, because the best 12 teams aren't getting in.
Good point. Yeah, I'm more concerned about you than you two are. I think 21-0 Alabama didn't get in.
If they don't score a point, that's a problem.
Yeah,
but I like their chances, Coach.
Yeah, I understand.
They'll be all right. They'll first of all, they match up fine. Georgia's a great football team. Could lose the game, absolutely. But Bama matches up fine. They'll be fine.
Georgia looks, when I look at how you're going to looks ready to play.
Did anybody watch Georgia last week?
It wasn't. I
mean, I'm like amazed at like the perception
elite
versus the reality when it comes to Georgia. Like Georgia did not look good last week. I mean, I know everyone focused on Bama, and Bama didn't look good in the second half, but at least there was a moment in that game where they looked real good. Georgia, there was not one point in the game against Georgia Tech where they looked good.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they can't go out and look like gangbusters on Saturday. They absolutely could. It's always in there.
the thing that I see with them, and maybe I was wrong on the Tech game, is they're ready to play, and they do a darn good job adjusting defensively.
Oh, they're excellent. They're outstanding.
Yeah, I think they adjust about as well as any team that you'll see, and it's playing hard and adjusting. The coaches can help a little bit by adjusting, but the players got to win the game.
I agree with
that. That's what football and athletics is all about. Piggly Wiggly brings me to y'all every week with Coca-Cola, and I appreciate Piggly Wiggly. They've been friends of mine for a long time. They're great. They're a great grocery store, or whatever kind of store you want. They've got steaks or anything that you need there. So go by Piggly Wiggly and tell them that you heard me on this show, and let me stay on here and drink some Coke when you have time. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Appreciate you, Coach. We'll catch up with you next week. Have a good weekend. All right, that's the Coach, Wimp Sanderson, brought to us by Coke and Piggly Wiggly each and every week, right here Thursday at 9 a.m., and he joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. When we come back, the computers tell us who wins this weekend. Next on Jocks. (9:19) Thursday, December 4th, right here on Jocks. Thanks for listening. You can listen online, jocksfm.com. The app is in your app store, iPhone, Android. You can download that for free. Also, find us live on YouTube each and every morning. Search Jocks945 or tell your home smart speaker to just enable the Jock skill.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion of GMC dealers. They've won 5 years in a row. There's a reason why Bill Smith Buick GMC continues to sell more vehicles than anyone in the entire Southeast, because the deals are better than anywhere that you'll find in the Southeast. Like a GMC Sierra 2500 four-wheel drive. 2500, this thing is such a sweet vehicle. I love it. 2500 Denali Ultimate. 97,530 is the list price. Take $12,000 off. Get it for $85,500. It's deals like that that keep people coming back. There's a reason why 75% of their business is repeat customers, because everybody that shops at Bill Smith has a great experience. So go see Andy Cole and Jonathan Yeager. It's a short drive up to Coleman, I-65, exit 310, Highway 31. Or you can shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, let's get to the Rubik's Cubelic. It tells you who's going to win games every week. 4-1 last week.
Let's go.
Rib Cube.
Now it's championship.
What was the one game they lost last week?
Oh, man, I'd have to go back and look.
The Iron Bowl, wasn't the Iron Bowl?
Oh.
It's because the Rib Cube's a homer.
That's it. We programmed it to pick the teams that we like. We will start with Saturday morning, BYU versus Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game. John, plug it in.
Major input. Input. Woo!
All done.
I do think some of the results are going to surprise some folks.
Oh, boy.
Let's go.
194, 193 per game on the ground for these two teams. No offset there. Rush defense, BYU, 119 yards per game. It's not terrible. It is absolutely not as good as Texas Tech's 68.9 yards per game allowed on the ground.
Pretty sporty.
Sporty enough to be the best in college football?
Be number one, yes.
It is. Turnovers, plus 12, plus 13.
Wow.
No offset there. Penalties. Texas Tech, 83 for 708 yards. That's 91st in college football. Advantage BYU, 67 flags for 556 yards.
Okay.
Third down offense, BYU, 41%. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's not bad. Texas Tech converts 51%.
That's better.
All right.
More than half.
Advantage Red Raiders. Third down defense. Now, BYU allows 32% converted.
That's a pretty good percentage.
Not bad.
16th in college football.
Yeah.
Texas Tech allows 29%.
Okay.
10th in college football. By a margin of plus 2.5, the Rubik's Cubelic likes Texas Tech to knock off BYU for the Big 12 title. Again.
Close?
Nah, 2.5.
2.5 is a fairly comfortable win, I feel like.
Yeah.
Greg's game, Duke, Virginia. Say, Bear, plug it in.
Rubik's Cubelic.
Rubik's Cubelic.
Rubik's Cubelic.
$132 a game on the ground for Duke, $189 on the ground per game for Virginia. Advantage whose? Rush defense, Virginia allows 108 rushing yards per game, better than Duke's 141 per game.
Oh, boy.
You know, your turnovers plus 7, plus 8, no offset there. Penalties, Duke 76 for 746. Virginia, 65 for 548. Advantage UVA again.
Oh, boy.
Third down offense.
Mm-hmm.
Duke converts 39%. That's 72nd nationally. Virginia converts 49%. That's 14th nationally. Advantage Virginia. Third down defense, 46% allowed for Duke. 27% allowed for Virginia. That's second in all of college football by a margin of plus 4. The Rubik's Cubelic likes Virginia in a blowout, Greg?
Yeah, Duke might as well not show up.
Duke beat him pretty good the last time. I'm sorry, Virginia beat him pretty good the last time.
We just read the receipt. That's all we do.
It's hard to beat a team twice.
So I've heard.
It's even harder to lose to a team twice.
Unless you are better.
Big Ten championship game, John. Plug it in.
Major input. Input. Woo!
done.
As you all know, no home field advantage here. So Ohio State runs for 171 yards a game.
That's pretty good.
But hang on a second. It's in Indianapolis.
It's not a home game.
Mm.
You think there'll be more Indiana fans there? Indiana runs for 230 yards per game.
Hey.
Ninth in college football, advantage Hoosiers. Rush defense, Ohio State allows 81.7 rush yards per game, fourth in college football.
That's outstanding.
Really good.
Yeah.
Indiana allows 79 rushing yards per game. That's second in college football. Not enough to be a true offset, but if we needed it, Indiana would get the edge. They do, however, get the edge in turnovers with Ohio State at +5, Indiana at +17 on the season.
Is that good?
That's amazing.
It's the best.
Simply
There's no
the
one
best.
better. Penalties, 82 for 712 for Ohio State. We almost had a double up, 44 for 321 for Indiana.
Wow.
That's 4 in a row.
Uh-huh. I'm picking up what you're putting down, brother.
Now, third down offense, Indiana 56.6.
That's great.
Ohio State 56.9.
Those old decimal points, they get you every time.
That is first and second in college football. Not a true offset, but if we needed a tiebreaker, it would go to Ohio State. Your third down defense,
Let's go.
27.7 for Indiana,
That's great.
27.5 for Ohio State. No true offset
No
by
offset.
margin of +2.5. The Rubik's Cubelic picks Indiana to win the Big Ten championship
They haven't
game.
played anybody.
They ain't play nobody.
That's what it comes down
Against
to.
who?
Against who? Genst, who?
Surprised, though, that number was that big. I am. Just
I'm
saying.
not. I mean, Indiana statistically is very impressive.
All right, let's go to the SEC championship game.
Ooh.
Saber, plug it in.
Rubik's Cubelic.
Rubik's
Cubelic. Rubik's Cubelic.
Let's go.
It's a big one.
Biggin.
At the Benz, is that Georgia home game? Like
Yeah,
it
it
is for
has
Indiana?
to be. Must be.
Got
So I've been told
They
Georgia's gonna
did
lose
play
there.
there a week ago, so some advantage. You decide.
Familiarity. Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah. Alabama runs for
Bama
126
flies
a game.
private there, by the way. So they not a huge.
They can all
advantage.
fit in a private plane.
Yeah.
Wow.
With a big delta symbol on the back.
Got it. Bama runs for 126 a game. That's 103rd in college football.
Wow.
Georgia runs for 190 a game. Advantage dogs.
Dogs.
Alabama allows 124 a game on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia allows 86.
Oh,
6
boy.
in college football. Advantage dogs.
Ooh.
Georgia's -1 in the turnovers.
Uh-oh.
Bama +8.
Back.
Double up.
Advantage tied.
Is that a double up?
Penalties. Because remember, these always go against Alabama.
Is that a double up?
That is a double up.
Oops.
Hmm.
RB.
Penalties. Alabama 61 for 540. Now, this is not like a massive differential, but 53 for 491 for Georgia. Advantage dogs. Third down offense. 46.4 for Bama, 46.1 for Georgia. Close. Very close. Third down defense. Alabama allows 34.4% of third downs to be converted. Georgia allows 36.3 to be converted. That's advantage Alabama. And we go to our tiebreaker because of the double up.
Which is?
Can't tell anybody. It's a secret.
Okay.
Secret
I know what it
ingredient.
is. I'll never tell.
The Rubik's Cubelic picks Alabama +0.5 to win the SEC
Wow.
championship game. Close.
The squeaker.
Closer.
I was told that Bama shouldn't even show up by everybody.
They told you that?
It's because they're going to lose by 21.
Unbelievable.
Whoa.
I'm amazed at, like, I honestly am amazed. Like, as an Alabama guy with Alabama friends, how many of my Alabama friends are like, oh, man, it's going to be a tough game this week? It's like, yeah, it's Georgia. It's always tough. Go throw a punch. You have nothing to lose. Go
Uh-oh.
send it.
The SEC championship, actually, you do have to lose.
Fair, but like let's be real.
So
How often is Alabama in the underdog role?
Not
How
very.
often have they responded well to the underdog role?
Pretty good.
Pretty well.
Yeah, they have.
Goodness gracious.
Rubik's Cubelic winners this week. Texas Tech plus 2.5. Virginia plus 4. Maybe could have been 5. Indiana plus 2.5. Bama plus 0.5.
You just read them. You just read them.
Guys, I just get the receipt. I don't know why you're mad at me about it. I haven't done anything. We send these to Redstone. They email it back. We print it. We read. That's all. Not our picks. Richard Cross joins the show next after Greg tells us about Shannara Flooring.
Well, Fu and his guys have done it again. They continue to stockpile inventory. It's been wild. See just how much inventory they've been able to stock up this year. 50,000 square feet of that premium Core-Tech flooring that is in stock right now at Shannara Flooring. Every single plank comes with that 20 mil wear layer. It's built to last and priced to move. No one in town has the Core-Tech that Fu has. And with savings of 20 to 40%, it's a deal you just can't touch. So remember Shannara Flooring, when you want Core-Tech, call who? Call Fu at Shannara Flooring, 205-518-6423, or go online at fuandyou.com.
All right, Richard Cross talked to Keith Carter yesterday on the departure of Lane Kiffin. We will share his conversation with you next, right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Glad you're with us. Going to get to Richard Cross here in just a moment. First, Greg's got to tell you about Crocker Moving Services.
Well, they're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. You can trust them in your home. Whether you need your whole home packed up and moved, your company headquarters moved across the country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do delivery for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's crockermovingservices.com. That's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right, let's get to the Higginbotham Hotline now. Welcome in Richard Cross of Head to Head Radio in Mississippi. Had Keith Carter on the show yesterday, and a couple of interesting discussions that you guys got into about this Lane Kiffin situation. What do you think that he did the best job of clarifying that maybe people are confused on with how this entire thing went down, Richard?
Well, in Lane Kiffin's statement, he said that, or I guess it was in his press conference, he said that it was 8:30 on Sunday morning when he learned that he was not going to be able to coach Ole Miss in the playoffs. And it's just not true. And I kind of pressed Keith on that a little bit, and he said, no, that's not accurate at all, on a couple of fronts. Now, I suppose the nuance in that is that Lane Kiffin was still trying to convince Keith Carter that he wanted to / should be able to coach Ole Miss in the playoffs. But I know for a fact that 3, 4, maybe even 5 weeks ago, when this conversation was happening internally and was less public or less in the mainstream than it has been for the last couple of weeks, Ole Miss let Lane know then, and they let Jimmy Sexton or whoever was representing Lane from Jimmy Sexton's office know that, hey, if you're not the coach of Ole Miss, you're not going to be coaching in the postseason. And so that was not new news. Lane certainly trying to build a narrative of, hey, he was the good guy and he wanted to do everything he could to finish out the season. And I don't fault him for that. There's a lot of work that went into this. And I certainly understand him wanting to do that. But there were a lot of people who were like, oh, just let him coach the playoffs. It should be fine. And my pushback on that was, I know that traditionally Ole Miss has not been where some of the elite programs in college football are, but if you look over the last 5 years and you pull out that total number of wins, 50 wins in the last 5 years, Ole Miss is in a group with Ohio State and Georgia and Alabama and Michigan. And so if you're in that elite group, I would think that you would act like an elite program would. And I just can't imagine Georgia or Alabama or Ohio State or Michigan having their coach agree to take another job but still stay on board and coach Ole Miss through the playoffs, or that team through the playoffs. Just doesn't make sense.
What do you think? How do you think Keith Carter's handled it under the circumstances? Like, I think it's been pretty good. But I'm just curious from your vantage point and how everybody's feeling on that side of the border.
Yeah, I think given the circumstances, given the hand that he's been dealt, he's handled it quite well. I think there's a high level of frustration that Keith Carter has not made public, that his football coach, while coaching a team that was in the mix for, now ultimately is going to be in the college football playoff, was shopping for another job, ended up shopping for that job pretty publicly. And there's nothing wrong with the coach moving, right? I mean, it happens. It just doesn't happen with these particular circumstances. And so given all of those things, I think it's gone pretty well. The one thing that Ole Miss fans have kind of pushed back on a little bit in the last couple of days, prior to yesterday, Ole Miss had been quiet, right? So Sunday they put the announcement out that Pete Golding's going to be the head coach. You have a few tweets that come from players, but there was nothing official that came from Ole Miss. And I think there were a lot of people that looked at it going, hey, LSU's shouting whatever they want to shout from the rooftop. Lane Kiffin's putting a narrative out there about this is how it went. And Ole Miss, you're just like sitting there and taking it like a punching bag. You're not punching back. And what Keith said to me yesterday, and I think said in another interview that he did, was we were doing a lot behind the scenes, and he just doesn't believe that immediately going on a media blitz or going straight to a media megaphone or Twitter or whatever else is always the best way to get things done. And so they were kind of operating to try and iron out the staff and get things sorted out with Pete Golding and all of those things, while people were wanting to hear from them and yet weren't hearing from them.
Do you look at it now, Richard, after you talked to Keith Carter and even what we've heard from Lane? I mean, kind of make of that what you will. Could anything have been done any differently, realistically, from the Ole Miss side?
That's a good question, Cole. And I didn't ask Keith that specifically, like, hey, if you could get a do-over on this particular part of the process, what would it be? The truth of the matter is, Ole Miss did everything it could for as long as it could to try to hold on to Lane Kiffin. I think if you had been in a different scenario where you didn't care if he left or not, you're like, fine, leave. Then maybe there's some things you do where you hold his feet to the fire a little bit more, or you take some action where you don't let him coach in the Egg Bowl or something along those lines. But I do think administratively they were holding out hope that ultimately this guy who's led Ole Miss to, as I said a second ago, 50 wins in the last 5 years and has been in the playoff this year, is going to have an epiphany, come to his senses, change his mind, whatever it is, and say, yeah, I'm just going to stay. We're going to keep this thing rolling. Once it finally became evident that that was not the case, there are a lot of people say, hey, it had been evident for a long time, but once it became official Saturday evening and Lane told Keith Carter, hey, I'm out, then Ole Miss acted pretty decisively. I think there are probably things that they would have liked to have done different, but the situation didn't necessarily allow them to do it differently than the way they handled it.
Was there a concern that the way they were building the roster year to year, there could be a bottoming out at some point? I mean, that's continuing. That's what I continue to hear, is that what they were doing was probably unsustainable. They had front loaded a lot of their NIL, and it was going to be tricky to sustain what they'd done over the last few years. Is that from what you've heard true, or is that not accurate?
Well, I mean, ultimately, Greg, I think that it didn't play out that way. I mean, since I'm sorry. I know it sounds like I'm talking quietly. I just had to sneak into my son's school to check him out for a doctor's appointment. All right, I'm back outside. I'm going to be back to full. It sounded like an echo chamber in the lobby of his school. So sorry about that. Bad moment.
You're good.
Since the transfer portal era began, hasn't that kind of been the feeling, is that this isn't sustainable? You can't do this over and over and over. And yet, ultimately, Ole Miss has done it over and over and over. Now, will it last forever? Would it have lasted forever? Would it have been sustainable? Could you have built rosters where there was chemistry and there was buy-in and everybody was pulling in the same direction over and over and over? I don't know. Maybe not. But I feel like the way Lane built the roster over the last few years has kind of flown in the face of what a lot of, I'll use air quotes here, smart people said couldn't be done. He actually has done what a lot of people said, oh, you can't do that over and over. It's not sustainable. And yet, so far, it had been.
Richard Cross joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Had a chance to catch up with Keith Carter, Ole Miss Athletic Director, yesterday. I'm interested in this Charlie Weiss situation now, because he's going with
too.
He's going with Lane. Now he's going to be back to call plays here at Ole Miss. My understanding is that they have a real opportunity to keep him moving forward, which I think would be huge for Pete, huge for Ole Miss. Where are you on what that situation may look like through the playoffs and beyond?
It's one of those things where do you ask somebody that's tied to Ole Miss, or do you ask somebody that's tied to LSU? There was supposedly this, I feel like ultimatum has been one of the buzzwords that has flown around this entire situation. So we can use a different word, a dictum, a command, however you want to describe it, from Lane. When he leaves, he's like, guys, if you want to go with me, get on the plane. If you don't have a job. Lane has said that's not the case. There have been people in the coaching staff at Ole Miss that have quietly said, yeah, that was the case. There was not really much of a choice. The fact that Charlie Weiss Jr. got on that plane and went to Baton Rouge gives you pause. The fact that he is coming back, I think, gives you pause again. I said earlier this week that I don't see how, if Charlie Weiss comes back, he's going to turn around and leave again. Depending on how this playoff run goes. If Ole Miss hosts a game, let's say they end up getting Notre Dame, they get beat by 3 touchdowns, it's over after 1 game, and, it's like, what do you do now? Maybe in that scenario he goes back. But if Ole Miss were to win a first-round game, if they were to get Virginia or, I don't know, North Texas or whomever in a first-round game in Oxford, and they win that, and then you're with the team through the first of the year, it feels like it gets a little more awkward and a little more likely that he would stay. I do know that Ole Miss very much wants him to stay. I have been told that there is a contract offer on the table that would be for significantly more money than what was announced that LSU was going to pay him. I think that was a 3-year, $6 million contract that they agreed to terms on, so that'd be $2 million a year. I don't know that I feel comfortable saying what the number that I heard, but it's significantly more than that $2 million a year. And I think one of the things that we're seeing from Pete Golding is he's got some money to work with in terms of building out this staff. Because when you say this is not an interim thing, it's a permanent thing, you got to make sure that you've got the resources in place. And it appears that Ole Miss has those resources in place.
We'll see how it plays out moving forward. I just want your thoughts quickly on Pete Golding being named the head coach.
I think Pete's really smart. In some interactions that I've had with him, some games for Ole Miss that I've done with a spring game or regular season, I've walked away going, that guy knows and understands more football than I could ever hope to, have even an understanding as to what he's talking about. If you've been around Pete at all, you know that he's I guess what some people would describe a little rough around the edges. He is not the polished. Is that a fair characterization?
No.
He's not the polished Armani suit, standing up there with the perfect tie and every hair in place. That's not who he is. But he is a ball coach.
He's like the pickup truck from Sanford and Son, basically.
Well, I mean, I might upgrade it a little bit from that.
No, I think that's what he wants to be, though.
I think he's awesome. I've always
he's
loved
fantastic.
If you don't like him, Cole, just tell us.
You said smart, like football smart. Like
Richard, if you don't like him, just tell us. I think he's fine.
I think he's the smartest football wise.
Well, and I don't just mean football smart. And now that's obviously what we're talking about in this situation. I think Pete's really smart, period. Like there is a high level of intelligence there. And then on top of that, his ability to build relationships. I mean, Greg, you said a second ago, you love the guy.
I do.
He's one of those guys that when you talk to him, you feel comfortable around him. And I think that's part of the reason that he's been so good in terms of recruiting and building those relationships. And, when Pete came to Ole Miss in 22, or I guess it was after the 22 season, I think he thought coming in that, Lane Kiffin's been at Alabama. They're going to be all buttoned up in their recruiting operation. And what he found was something that was pretty chaotic and pretty disorganized. And so I think there's a lot of Pete Golding's fingerprints on the recruiting operation and the way that it was built out and the way they go after transfer portal guys and the way they go after high school guys. If you got players and if you're able to continue to get players, then you've got a chance to have a lot of success. I do think he's going to need to build out a staff where he's got some experience. Maybe a guy that's been a head coach before that's been in the chair or at least has seen a lot that can say to him, hey, probably don't need to do it this way. Hey, let's look at the situation differently. I think that'll be an important piece to his staff, but I think there are a lot of reasons that this can succeed at Ole Miss and maybe succeed at a high level.
Sounds exactly like you're describing an FU coach, which we tell guys all the time. You better have one on staff or else it's going to get you in trouble. And I agree with you. I think Pete, to an extent, was that for Lane and probably does not agree with the majority of what you just said of how much he helped the actual program. But, yeah, we'll see how it goes moving forward. Richard, we appreciate the time, man. Thank you very much.
Boys, always good to visit. Thanks so much. See ya.
All right, Richard Cross joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline talking the Lane Kiffin move from Oxford to Baton Rouge. We'll have more on that next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Great conversations today of national championships, where Rubik's Cubelic gave us some winners from over the weekend. So a lot of different things that we have discussed. Wide receiver rooms, how far does that go as it pertains to maybe winning a national championship? Don't get caught in the cold, though. Schedule your system checkup now from a Train Comfort Specialist. Train has been recognized 11 consecutive years as America's most trusted HVAC brand and our exclusive home comfort partners here at Jocks. Visit Train.com to find a comfort specialist near you. It's hard to find a Train. You mentioned Indiana a little bit earlier in the show, Greg. We were talking about them. I mean, I have full confidence that they can find ways to go win this football game against Ohio State.
No doubt. They can do it. It's not going to be easy. They got to play great, but guess what? That's the beauty. There is a path for Indiana for sure to win this football game. Part of what I think makes me believe that, though, is having seen Ohio State. And I love Ohio State this year. You know that. I mean, I don't think I need to convince many people that are listening to this show that just how good that team has been. If you look at the opportunities to attack, I mean, Michigan had 0 passing game, no threat. They threw for 60-something yards?
I think so.
And they gashed them a couple times by overloading them. Now, we're not going to see a lot of 12, a lot of 13 personnel from Indiana. That's not what they do. But they could potentially get Ohio State into some of their nickel stuff, and I think they can run it on them. I think Indiana can run the ball.
Yeah.
That's a good running football team, and they actually present the threat of a pass, and they can win one-on-ones, which is not something that you're super concerned about when playing against a team like Michigan.
All right, well, we will get into bad box score of the day. One quickly for you. The Ball State
Cardinals.
This is women's hoops, by the way, yes.
Lady Cardinals.
They just snuck past the Oakland City
Panthers.
You literally will never get this.
Thunder.
Like, we could sit here for 48 hours and guess this, and you would not get it.
48?
72 hours.
No, they're the Seawolves.
It's a great random guess. They are the Oakland City Mighty Oaks.
The Oakland Mighty Oaks.
Like I said,
Okay.
I
Love
don't
that.
think anybody was guessing that one.
That's a good one.
And they were not mighty going down last night, 119-34. Oddly enough, it was 31-14 at the end of one. Then by quarter, they scored 7, 5, and 8.
Okay.
Ah.
Okay. Yeah, bad
Got 'em.
coaching. Bad coaching.
Ball State actually ramped it up in the second half, scoring more in the first half than the second half. They put up 69 in the second half. Oakland City shot 11 of 54 from the floor.
Okay.
That's 20%. They did put up 19 threes,
How many of those did they make?
just 3.
Okay.
Now, they only turned it over 31 times.
Okay, that's where it went off the rails.
For the game, Ball State shot 49 of 96.
Oh, they were hot.
96 shots?
Shoot more
Not
stuff.
They
a
were
few.
10 of 36 from 3, 11 of 14 from the free throw line. Out-rebounding Oakland 69-23.
Oh, now that's okay.
Triple up.
They didn't want to be there. They didn't want to be there.
Triple up.
There were 6 players on Ball State's team with 9 or more rebounds.
Okay, getting after it. I appreciate the effort. That's how you have success and wins like this. Good job. I can coach that.
The offensive rebounding differential, 30-5.
Oh yeah, that's
Six.
atrocious.
That's a 6 up.
Well, some second chance point opportunities there for Ball State last night. Not many for the Mighty Oaks.
Yeah.
All right, we're back tomorrow to preview championship weekend. We'll have a college football game tomorrow night as we will decide one conference
We got a
champion
bunch of good ones
there.
tomorrow night. We have 4 tomorrow night.
We'll talk about all of them
Let's ride.
right here on Jocks, 7 to 10 a.m. Before that, 3-man front is coming at you next.
Broncos country. Let's ride.